It's night 17 on Millennials vs Gen Z, and at the Millennials camp, Casey immediately asks the tribe what the hell just happened at tribal council. Christine tells Casey to calm down, but Casey says he's demanding for answers. He needs to know why he got 3 votes. In confessional, Christine says that the hailstorm is back, and the hailstorm in question is Casey. Once again, he's panicking because he was the other vote. Nobody really knows at the moment what happened and why Casey received 3 votes instead of just 2, but of course, it's not even a big deal in the first place. They got rid of the main target in Omar. Casey then asks once again if someone can explain what happened, but Christine tells him nobody will speak up if he keeps his tone at a level 100. Casey tells them all to fuck off in that case, and Bobby tells Henry and Natalia she cannot deal with this child. In confessional, Rhea says she's not going to piss people off and speak up like Casey is. She's in a position where she could go home next, so the quieter she is, the better. It's very unfortunate that Omar ended up going home tonight, but he told her to win this game for him, and that's what she plans to do. This win is not just for herself and her family, but for Omar. Christine then pulls Casey aside from camp, telling him he needs to chill out before people in the alliance give up working with him. Casey tells Christine he just wants answers. He doesn't give a single fuck about how other people feel because none of them got any votes. He's the one being plotted against. Christine then opens her mouth to speak, but Casey immediately interjects again and says he needs to know who voted for him. Christine then tells him it has to be the 3 millennials in that case if he's begging that bad. This isn't hard to guess if one's brain wasn't full of shit. In confessional, Christine says she had to make an educated guess to get Casey to shut up already, so she told him that Rhea, Omar, and Natalia voted together. Natalia is the most likely person to do it considering she has a past with Omar and Rhea. Did she actually do it? Time will tell. Christine then tells Casey once again that he needs to stop blowing up his position because it's actively ruining her own game as well. Casey starts to hyperventilate, so Christine tries to go through some breathing exercises with him. Casey then thanks Christine and starts to cry, and Christine goes over to give him a hug. In confessional, Casey says he doesn't open up to people that easily, but his paranoia and crash outs spill out his honest feelings. It's how he naturally reacts to stressful situations. Tonight pushed him so hard over the edge to the point where he blew up unfairly in front of everyone else. Christine then tells Casey that it's okay to cry it out, and Casey says he never wanted to come off like a dick. Christine tells him to shush as she hugs him closer, telling him it's okay. In confessional, Christine says she understands Casey is a very sensitive person when it comes to his feelings, but in this game, sensitivity can lead to one's downfall. If Casey continues his antics tomorrow, he might end up getting himself into more trouble, to the point where he might be kicked out of the alliance. Meanwhile at camp, the others huddle around to talk, and Bobby says she doesn't understand why Casey is such a raging baby. She also doesn't get why Christine feels the need to mother him. He's not her ginger angel. Henry says he doesn't want to judge Casey right now because this could just be how he reacts under pressure, but Bobby says it's getting out of hand. In confessional, Bobby says she doesn't care if Casey is upset. She gets to feel how she wants to feel, and she doesn't feel like living around a freak like him. She would gladly vote him out next if given the opportunity. Natalia then asks the group who actually voted for Casey, and Rhea and Bobby both raise their hands. Rhea says that she was told last minute to do it by Bobby and Henry. Bobby admits this is true and says she got really paranoid last minute and decided to play her idol on herself. In confessional, Natalia says she's honestly really confused by Bobby's idol play logic. If Bobby thought that 4 people at the very minimum were voting for her tonight, that clearly leaves Casey and the 3 millennials as the 4 votes. She would never assume that Christine and Henry would flip on her. This is shady as hell, so now she can't trust Bobby as much as she thought she could. It's the 18th day in the game, and Bobby and Christine chat alone. Bobby tells Christine that she cannot deal with Casey anymore. She will die in this jungle if he stays any longer. Christine then says that she tried her best to calm him down yesterday, but Bobby interrupts and says that she needs to drop him and stop babying him. He's a grown 21-year-old adult. He doesn't need a milk bottle to suck on when he's upset. Christine says she knows, but she doesn't want Casey to negatively affect their alliance. In confessional, Christine says that she understands why people are so disturbed by Casey, and she can only go so far when trying to protect him. Maybe she made a mistake keeping him around last night because now he's seemingly turning on the alliance and he's an unstable, emotional mess. Bobby then explains to Christine that she used her idol last night because she couldn't trust Casey and the original Millennials. She thought they'd team up as a four, which then puts her own game in danger. Christine says she doesn't mind that she used the idol, but obviously it'll raise alarm bells to the others, specifically Natalia. Bobby says she knows and she plans to keep Natalia calm as much as possible. Meanwhile in the shelter, Casey wakes up while Henry and Rhea are still asleep next to him. He then goes over to Natalia by the fire pit and says good morning, but Natalia remains quiet. Casey asks her why she's giving him the silent treatment, and Natalia says she doesn't know. She's just very confused by last night's events. Casey then asks her if she knows who voted for him, and Natalia says it wasn't herself. She voted for Omar. That was their plan going into tribal. Casey then makes a doubtful face, so Natalia then tells him she doesn't even want to interact with him if he's going to cause more trouble. She then gets up and leaves, and in confessional, Casey says that he doesn't know who to trust anymore. Everyone seems so on edge after last night, and it feels like everyone hates him now. If they can't deal with the type of person he is, that's their fault, not his own. Natalia then finds Bobby and Christine, letting them know she cannot be around Casey right now. In confessional, Natalia says she's not even going to try talking to Casey anymore because she knows now he doesn't believe a single word out her mouth. She'd rather not waste her energy around him, especially because he's the crash-out queen out here. Bobby then says that she can't deal with Casey either, so she's basically hiding from him right now. Natalia then says she'd go as far as to throw the next challenge just to vote him out, and Bobby says she wouldn't mind it either. Christine then jumps in and says they will not throw the next immunity challenge. That would be stupid of them. Plus, he'd be an easy merge vote anyway. Bobby then says she doesn't even know if merge is after this round. For all they know, they could be stuck on this tribe for another 2 or 3 rounds. They may as well take him out now. Natalia then says she actually wants to bring up something else while they are here. She doesn't really get the whole story from last night, so she's wondering if either of the two of them voted for Casey. Bobby then admits she voted for Casey. She felt like Casey, Rhea, and Omar were plotting against her, so she panicked. Natalia then asks her who the 4th vote would have been, but Bobby says she doesn't understand what she means. Natalia then clarifies that if she felt like she needed to use her idol last night, there would have to be 4 clear votes against her for the idol to count. Bobby then admits she felt like maybe there was a chance all 3 of the Millennials would stick together, so she had to factor that in quite honestly. In confessional, Natalia scoffs and says she cannot believe this dummy right now. Bobby clearly tried to hide the truth from her that she didn't really trust her, which is absolutely the shadiest thing one can do. She thought Bobby was cool with her, but clearly not. Now she has to keep an eye out on this woman because she just proved that there's no actual trust built in their relationship. Bobby then says that at the end of the day, last night's events just cemented Casey's death in this game, so right now they should all focus on that. Natalia nods and says she's on board with it either way, and Christine tells the two not to get any ideas of throwing the next immunity challenge, regardless if they plan to vote Casey out or not. Meanwhile, Rhea and Casey are at camp while Henry is still asleep in the shelter, and Rhea asks Casey how he slept. Casey says he didn't sleep well because he can't stop thinking about last night. Rhea sighs and tells him she's sorry for voting for him. Casey says he won't let his emotions get in the way today. He was very reactive last night after it all went down. Rhea says she tried to avoid him last night for his own sake so she wouldn't add on to his paranoia, but she totally understands how he feels. In confessional, Rhea says that she needs to act as faithful as possible so people will stop going after her. Omar is already gone, which lowers her threat level, so now she needs to maintain an even lower threat level and ensure people want to keep her here. Casey then asks Rhea who told her to vote for him last night, and Rhea admits it was Omar's plan. She was going along with it, hence why she's super regretful now for following through with it. In confessional, Casey says he doesn't trust Rhea after their morning chat. She's clearly hiding information from him because he doubts she regrets her decision to vote for him. It smells like a load of bull. He needs to keep his distance from her going forward so his alliance continues to trust him. Natalia and Christine are alone, and Natalia tells Christine she doesn't know how to feel about Bobby. Something is very off with her all of a sudden. Christine asks how so, and Natalia says she doesn't think Bobby trusts her. Christine tells her that Bobby surely wouldn't go against her. It was just a natural instinct she brought up regarding the Millennials potentially linking up. It doesn't mean she truly believed it. Natalia says that's still crazy to think since Casey's name was already out there as a secondary option. In confessional, Christine says that there's growing tension now between Natalia and Bobby, which could be a concern for this alliance. Natalia is a smart woman, so she will question the sketchiness of a person to the maximum. Bobby really made herself look untrustworthy to Natalia with her idol play last night, so it'll be a challenge to get these two to stick together. Christine then tells Natalia she feels good overall about their group. There's no doubt in her mind that Casey or Rhea will go next if they have to go to another tribal council. On the Gen Z tribe, everyone is at camp singing songs together, and in confessional, Laura says that the Gen Z tribe is all about happiness and positivity. All the negative energy they had on their original tribe passed over to the opposing tribe. Basically Griff and Casey. Thank God Griff went home already. Hopefully it was Casey last night. It would put a smile on her face when they get to those challenge mats tomorrow. Lydia and Laura later chat alone, and Lydia asks Laura who she speculates went home last night. Laura says she has this feeling it was Casey since Gen Z knew who not to trust in a swap. It was always Griff and Casey they had to keep an eye out for. Lydia then says she hopes Rhea and Omar survived because she feels like they are both very important for her in the merge. In confessional, Lydia says she wants to seem very open and honest in front of Laura to make her feel comfortable. It also shows her they can have open game conversations with each other without the worry of them spilling information to other people. She needs Laura by her hip going forward because she is someone who can tremendously help keep her around on this tribe and in the merge. Lydia then says that she's going to be very nervous tomorrow if they find out Omar or Rhea were voted out. It'll make her seem like the next easy out on this tribe. Laura tells her that she shouldn't fear anything. They both know they are looking out for each other, so if her name ever comes up, she'll inform her. Lydia thanks her and says she'd do the same for her as well. Meanwhile, Andy and Kendi chat, and Andy asks Kendi how he feels about Phil at the moment. Kendi says he doesn't think he'll budge. Phil seems super loyal to the other Gen Z. In confessional, Kendi says he likes Andy a lot, so he doesn't want him to be left out of his plans going forward. He needs to flip on Lydia because she's on a sinking ship. Kendi then tells Andy that he feels like they'll need to part ways with Lydia. She's going to be an easy target if they lose the next immunity challenge tomorrow. Andy sighs and says he knows, and it'll be tough to betray her. In confessional, Andy says he's torn right now. On one hand, he wants to help Lydia because she helped him back on their original Millennials tribe. However, he's looking at the position he's in right now, and if she uses her hidden immunity idol on herself, it could send him home as the secondary plan for the majority. Phil, Caitlin, and Sam chat together, and Phil lets the two know that Kendi is definitely trying to get information out of him. But he's not giving him much despite his efforts. Caitlin says it's not a surprise because all the Millennials can do is fight for their survival. Sam then says she wonders if perhaps Andy has an idol in his pocket. It would explain why he's the least talkative out of the 3 original millennials. In confessional, Sam says she has been observant each and every day, especially focusing on the 3 millennials because she can't have them pull off any funny business. Andy hasn't fought as hard as Lydia and Kendi have, which makes her think he has some sort of protection, perhaps in the form of an idol. An idol could screw up her game right now, so her alliance needs to maneuver around it. Sam then tells the group that she doesn't know if Andy would theoretically be selfish and use the idol on himself or on one of the other 2, and Phil says he honestly can't wrap his mind around it. Caitlin then says that this is why they need to just win tomorrow's immunity challenge. They can't take any chances and assume they can easily take out a millennial. Kendi and Denisha meanwhile chat alone, and Kendi says he likes how calm it is out here when tribal council isn't on his mind. Denisha laughs and says she feels like she has nothing to do half the time. She just hasn't gone to tribal council as much. Kendi says she only went once, so he can't imagine how calm she has felt this past week, compared to his chaotic 18 days out here. In confessional, Kendi says he grew up in a family where the act of patience was heavily valued. That's why he loves surrounding himself with other patient people who have classy attitudes like his own. Someone like Rhea has been his closest ally out here since day 1. However, now that they are split apart, he found a new close friend in Denisha. He didn't think he'd gravitate towards her due to their age gap, but they are actually getting along fairly well. Denisha then says she can't stop thinking about her boyfriend. Kendi says that's sweet, and Denisha says she gets really stressed when she thinks about him. Kendi then asks her why she's putting so much stress on herself over him, and Denisha says she doesn't know what he's thinking with her being gone for so long. In confessional, Denisha says that this jungle is doing her head in because she can't stop thinking of home. She's worried that a lot is changing within the period of time she's on Survivor. It's hard for her not to think about even the smallest of concerns. Kendi then tells Denisha she has to stop putting so much pressure on herself because it's going to diminish her experience out here. She needs to enjoy the Amazon while she can and think of all the good that'll come out of this. Denisha says it's easier said than done, and Kendi says he understands. However, she can't keep thinking of the worst case scenarios like this because it does nothing but push away her good thoughts. At the Millennials tribe, the sun starts to set, and Casey eventually walks out of camp. In confessional, Casey says he's going to dedicate at least 1 hour of searching for this hidden immunity idol. Bobby played one last night, so that likely means a new one was hidden. Casey then looks around everywhere, going on short jogs from place to place as he tries to find anything that looks out of place. Meanwhile at camp, Natalia asks the rest of the tribe where Casey has gone, and Christine says she thought he might have wanted to go get some water for himself. Bobby then says she has her doubts. He didn't mention anything to them as he left. Henry says he might be isolating himself because he's anxious or uncomfortable after yesterday's events, which is a common experience for someone with anxiety. In confessional, Bobby says she feels like Casey is looking for an idol because she played one last night. However, that's not how idols work, at least to her knowledge. She needs to play the idol she found at Gen Z's camp in order for it to be re-hidden. The idol she played last night was from the Survivor shop. Plus, this is the original Millennials camp anyway, so Casey isn't finding shit out here unless Omar somehow went home with the original Millennials idol in his pocket. It's day 19, and everyone arrives at the challenge mats. Justin says good morning, confirming that Omar was the last person voted out from the Millennials tribe. Justin then turns to Lydia, telling her that the original Millennials seem very saddened by the news, and Lydia admits that it's hard to see such a good person like Omar go home. She knows he put his 100% into this game and always looked out for other people, so to see him go home without even being on his tribe is like a gut punch. Justin then says that they don't have time for any tears as they must get on with their next challenge. Today, immunity and reward are on the line. In this challenge, everyone will need to jump over short walls and then help each other get over the tall wall. Once everyone is across, one member will need to set up some barrels, tires, and logs in the mud pit that will then be used as a parkour setup to get to the other side of the mud pit without touching the mud itself. If anything needs to be moved around, anyone who finished the course will need to restart. The first tribe with all 6 members across will win immunity and reward. As for the reward today, the winning tribe will get to enjoy a pizza party with various pizza flavors, soft drinks, and brownies. Along with this, they will also watch the losing tribe's tribal council while they have their discussion phase. One member of the winning tribe will then have the power to kidnap one player from the losing tribe so they do not have to attend the vote. They will all then head back to camp for their pizza party while the losing tribe proceeds with their elimination. In order to determine who gets this kidnapping power, it'll be the person who ends up as the mover in the second stage of this challenge. With that in mind, it's time for both tribes to agree on one member to be today's mover, so both tribes then huddle up and discuss. On the Millennials, Bobby says she wants someone who wouldn't have a problem moving the objects, so Christine mentions Henry's name. Henry says he'll do it in that case and they'll all agree together who to kidnap if they win. On the other mat, the Gen Z also has a discussion, and Lydia says she feels like Kendi is strong enough to move the objects the quickest. Sam then quickly raises her hand and says she's honestly down to do it because she moves heavy stuff every day. Caitlin then agrees with the choice of Sam, and Laura also jumps in and says she feels good about it being Sam. Justin then asks both tribes who their movers will be, so both Henry and Sam raise their hands. Justin then confirms that there will not be any opportunity to switch, so this is their final decision. Now that both tribes have their movers decided, everyone gets ready at the starting mat for this challenge. Justin confirms that Gen Z has decided to sit out Andy and Lydia. With that, the challenge begins, so both tribes begin running through the course. As they get over the short wall obstacles, Caitlin accidentally trips on one of the walls and falls to the ground, but she gets up and says she's fine. A few seconds later, she falls again, and Laura comes over to help her up. Millennials get everyone to the tall wall first, so Casey and Henry start boosting up Christine first. Shortly after, the Gen Z tribe also makes it to the tall wall, so Kendi and Phil begin boosting up Laura first. Both tribes are relatively close as they get each member over the wall with ease. Sam gets up the wall fourth for her tribe, so she remains up top as Kendi tries to boost Phil onto his shoulders. Bobby meanwhile is the fourth for her tribe up the wall, so she too remains at the top as Casey prepares for a running jump. He then sprints towards the wall and tries leaping up, but then falls to the ground. Henry then suggests he just boosts him on his shoulders, but Casey says he's going to try the sprinting method once more. Phil meanwhile gets up the wall for Gen Z, so Kendi prepares for a running jump. Both Casey and Kendi sprint to their walls, and Casey falls once again while Kendi is caught by both Sam and Phil. They struggle to pull Kendi over the wall but eventually get him over. The three then quickly head to the mat and Sam then starts heading over to the objects. Henry meanwhile boosts Casey on his shoulders and Bobby manages to get him up onto the wall. Henry then tells the two he's going to try sprinting up the wall, so he heads a bit out and prepares to run. He then dashes for the wall and gets up, with Bobby and Casey both catching him. However, they struggle to pull him up, and Henry tells them to pull harder. They manage to get Henry up the wall, so all three jump down to the mat. With Millennials now done, Henry heads over to his objects for the second stage of the challenge. Sam gets all the objects set up, so she begins spacing them out as best as possible. Kendi then tells Sam she should just leave them how they are, but Caitlin says that the last jump is going to be too hard for her. Henry tries to spread out the objects as quickly as possible, and meanwhile, Sam finishes spacing out hers, so she runs back to her tribe. Kendi then heads out first, jumping from object to object, and then he makes it across with ease. As Caitlin goes next, Henry asks his tribe if his setup looks good, and Casey tells him to just come back so they can test it out. Henry then runs back, while Caitlin is on the second last object, telling her tribe it looks really difficult for her. Kendi tells her to try landing on her knees so she doesn't lose balance, so Caitlin jumps and lands on the object without falling off. Once she's with Kendi, Lara goes next for the Gen Z tribe. Millennials meanwhile have Casey jumping through the course, but he slips and falls into the mud after one of the jumps. Henry then says he knew it wasn't good enough, so he runs out to fix the large gap in their parkour course. Lara manages to get halfway through the course, so she breathes out and jumps to the next object. Henry meanwhile gets back to the platform, so Bobby tries to get through the parkour this time. Lara meanwhile gets to the end for her tribe, so Denisha goes next. Bobby takes her time on the parkour while Denisha has a steady pace on her end. Once Bobby gets halfway, Denisha makes it to the other side, so Phil begins jumping through the course next. Bobby then gets to the last jump and ends up falling in the mud, and the millennials sigh as they start to feel the loss inching closer and closer. Phil makes it through the course for Gen Z fairly easily, so Sam is last for her tribe. She jumps from object to object with ease, eventually reaching the end, meaning Gen Z has won immunity and reward. They all cheer together while the millennials are dead quiet, disappointed at yet another loss. Back on the mats, Justin congratulates the Gen Z tribe on their continued winning streak, so Sam heads up to grab the immunity statue for her tribe. Justin then confirms that the Gen Z tribe will get to watch the tribal council discussion phase tonight before Sam kidnaps one member from the millennials tribe. As for the millennials, one of them will be the 9th person voted out of Millennials versus Gen Z. With that, both tribes begin heading back to camp, and in confessional, Lydia admits she's not as happy as everyone else on her tribe right now because she lost Omar and now she doesn't have the power to kidnap anyone from the Millennials tribe. Her pick would have been Rhea, but of course the original Gen Z people outnumbered her and chose Sam to have that power. If Rhea ends up going home tonight, the original millennials are absolutely screwed in a merge scenario, especially if Natalia is officially with the original Gen Z players. Back at the millennials tribe, the mood is low and the camp is quiet as they all process their 3rd loss in a row. Casey then decides to walk off, and in confessional, Casey says he honestly couldn't be around anyone after the repeated challenge loss because it crushed him so badly. He knows he's in danger tonight, so there's just so much going through his mind right now, and a lot of those thoughts are positive ones. Once Casey is gone, Rhea tells the rest that she doesn't want to come off desperate or anything, but all she has to mention is that she really wants to be here. Merge could be around the corner, so they need to think about who they can all move forward with and who they cannot rely on after tonight. Bobby calls that a fair pitch, and Henry says it's very clear that Casey is unstable to work with, so she has a good shot at survival tonight. In confessional, Henry says that it sucks to lose yet another challenge, but now there's a decision to be made. Either Casey will be going home tonight or it's another original millennial. Both Casey and Rhea will be told that they are safe tonight since the kidnap twist could save one of them, so it's better not to reveal the true plan to the person they plan to vote out. Casey is alone in the jungle, sobbing to himself as he calls himself a loser. He continues to sob out loud, asking God why it had to be this way. In confessional, Casey says he feels like he messed up big time. His biggest downfall has been his emotions by far. They've gotten in the way of his gameplay, and now he looks like a fool to everyone else. Since he took things so personally in this game, people probably want him gone tonight. It's a reality he can't change unless his allies continue to see value in him over Rhea. Meanwhile, Christine, Natalia, and Henry chat alone, and Christine asks the two if they are too bothered by Casey to where they'd keep Rhea tonight. Henry says he isn't personally bothered by Casey, but he knows other people might have a different mindset. Natalia then admits that it's no question for her tonight. It has to be Casey because of his behavior lately. Christine then says that it's a done deal then if Bobby also wants that. They'll just convince Rhea that they see her as a valuable player for their games, and then she might not feel the need to target them in the merge. In confessional, Christine says she would rather go the simple route tonight and vote out Casey. That's what Natalia and Bobby want to do, so she doesn't want to upset them. Sometimes, you need to balance your own decisions with the opinions of others, and in this case, she needs to leave her own preference aside and go with the group. Bobby and Rhea chat alone, and Bobby lets Rhea know she's safe and sound with her. Rhea smiles and says she hopes that's true. Bobby tells her not to worry when it comes to truths and lies around her. She'll always be truthful to her. She voted with her 2 nights ago because she feels like they can move forward together. In confessional, Rhea admits she feels relatively good about Bobby as she's showing how open-minded of a player she is. She's seemingly doing her best to campaign against Casey tonight, which is good for her odds at survival right now. Perhaps this is an avenue she can explore going forward since this game is so full of Gen Z. Rhea then says she feels like she doesn't have any options going into a merge other than working with her and the other Gen Z. She'd be stupid to link back up with the Millennials at this rate since there's so few of them. Bobby tells her that it's going to be Casey tonight, and that's a fact. She isn't going anywhere. Christine and Casey talk, and Casey asks her to be upfront with him and tell him if he's going home tonight. Christine tells him he's not, but Casey asks again if she's being 100% with him. Christine says she never lied to him in this game, so if she ever wanted to hide a truth from him, she would stay quiet rather than lie to his face. In confessional, Christine admits she's lying in this moment to Casey, but it's to prevent him from going crazy. If he feels safe, he'll remain calm. That's how he functions out here. Plus, if he ends up staying after tonight's tribal council, he'll think she has been on his side the whole way through. Casey then tells Christine he's locked in to vote for Rhea tonight since she's not trustworthy. She will jump back to the Millennials in the merge phase. Christine tells him she knows and also wants to make sure they limit opportunities of the Millennials linking back up. At camp, Rhea, Bobby, Natalia, and Henry talk, and Rhea brings up the topic of Sam's kidnapping decision for tonight. Bobby says she reckons it'll be a Gen Z. It's nothing against Rhea and Natalia, it's just a fair assumption to make. Natalia says she honestly doesn't care, as long as Casey isn't the one kidnapped. Bobby sighs and admits she's nervous about that possibility. They can't even tell Sam to her face not to kidnap him. If they do, Casey might go rogue and pull out an advantage or something to save himself tonight. In confessional, Bobby says that if Casey were to be kidnapped tonight, that only leaves Rhea as a voting option. This would suck for her own game because Rhea seems to trust her. It doesn't make sense to vote someone out who has built some trust with her, so she'd rather go to her closer allies and push a different plan B out there. Bobby then talks with Christine and Henry a bit later, asking them if they think Casey is going to be kidnapped tonight. Henry says he doubts it, but Bobby says they still need to strategize what their secondary plan will be in the case he is kidnapped. Christine tells her it's an easy choice. Rhea would go in that scenario. Bobby then says she feels like Rhea is less likely to flip on them than Natalia going forward. She doesn't have the best feeling about Natalia anymore. Henry says it's tough because they also have to realize that Natalia has been burned by every single millennial out here, so she's more likely to seek revenge on them. Rhea doesn't have that same motive. In confessional, Bobby says that if Casey gets kidnapped tonight, she might have to do some last-minute work at tribal council to ensure Rhea stays. She cannot trust Natalia as much as she can throw her. They've had their many awkward moments in the last 24 hours, hence it's too risky to keep her around longer. Natalia meanwhile walks around the jungle, and in confessional, Natalia says she feels like there's a bit of an opportunity to make a big move tonight if the stars align. Bobby brought up a good point at camp. Sam could very well kidnap Casey. If that happens, that of course leaves Rhea in the hot seat. However, perhaps there's a bigger fish she could fry, that being Bobby. Out of all the people remaining on this tribe, the people she cannot trust at all are Casey and Bobby. It wouldn't make sense to take out Rhea if they've established a small bit of trust with each other. Plus, Bobby straight up lied to her face before, so she'll do it again to her. Natalia then finds Henry alone, asking him if they can chat. Henry says sure, so Natalia says she's been really thinking about this kidnapping. They can't make it too obvious tonight that Casey is the plan, so it's highly possible Sam will decide to kidnap him. In that case, they would need a new plan. Henry then says the obvious choice is Rhea, but he's willing to hear her out if she has something else in mind. Natalia then name drops Bobby, claiming that the whole idol play 2 nights ago made no sense. To her, it shows that Bobby doesn't have faith in this alliance at all. There would be no other reason to use her idol the way she did. In confessional, Henry says that Natalia brings up some fair points. Bobby made a sketchy move last tribal council which could have screwed over himself, Christine, or even Natalia. It's very evident from his perspective that Bobby simply doesn't trust Natalia, which is why she decided to use her idol. However, Natalia is someone who could benefit this alliance because she's actively against the Millennials. Bobby's main strength is the other idol she has in her pocket. Going into this tribal council, himself and Christine are going to need to consider all options. If Casey somehow gets kidnapped, Natalia and Bobby will attack each other, and now it's down to himself and Christine to decide who goes. Bobby has been good with him since day one, but it's possible she could become a paranoid player in the merge which could screw him over. The best case scenario is that nothing crazy happens tonight so he doesn't need to burn any bridges. It's night 19, and everyone arrives at tribal council, including the other tribe. Justin welcomes both tribes to tribal council, reminding them all that they will hold a discussion as per usual with the Millennials, and then before the vote, Sam will kidnap one player from the Millennials. After that, the Gen Z and the kidnapped player will leave for their pizza party while the 5 remaining Millennials will vote someone out. Justin then points out to Casey that he looks extra nervous tonight, and Casey admits he's shitting a truck tire right now. He hasn't felt the most confident these last few days, and emotions have been high. However, he's holding on to the alliance he is in which will hopefully stay loyal tonight. Justin then asks Christine if she understands Casey's nervous feelings at the moment, and Christine says of course. They all know it's been a tough few days for him, but he basically set that system up himself. Justin then asks in what way, and Christine explains that Casey tends to explode on people when he's in a very emotional state. Casey then jumps in though and says that his emotions are something that only comes out temporarily. Once he can get a steady mind, things are back to normal. Justin then asks Natalia if she feels like things are back to normal with Casey in that case, but Natalia admits it hasn't felt that way. Casey then interrupts Natalia, asking her how else he can fix how she feels about him, but Natalia tells him she would appreciate it if he stopped interrupting people mid-explanation. Casey apologizes and tells her to go ahead then, and Natalia says that she can't work with someone who is erratic. That can screw her and her other close allies up in the future, especially with a merge around the corner. Casey then says that he promises he's Gen Z strong going into merge, and his allegiance shouldn't worry anyone tonight. Justin then asks Natalia if Casey's allegiance includes her, considering he only mentioned the Gen Z, and Natalia says it's pretty known at this point that she's close to the Gen Z. Christine laughs and adds that they see Natalia as a Gen Z at this point. Justin then asks Rhea if that makes her as the sole outsider in that case, and Rhea says it does. Herself and Omar entered a tribe with 5 Gen Z and 1 person they voted out. While they both survived 1 vote together, Omar got taken out last time. These people could come together again tonight and just pick her off. Justin then asks Rhea why these people should keep her in that case, and Rhea says that she offers a more stable mindset for this game. She can be someone people can lean on when they need her. She has had her chats with people these last few days, and her hope is that they trust her enough to take her to merge so she can then be the support they need. Justin then asks Henry if Rhea is someone that has proven to be trustworthy, and Henry says it's hard to tell. Rhea is still technically new to all of them. The rest of them have known each other for longer. Bobby then speaks up and says that she doesn't think it would mean that they don't trust Rhea at all in that case. Sometimes, the person you've known for less time is someone you can start trusting on a higher level than others. Rhea then states that she hasn't betrayed anyone in this game, so that should speak volumes. Justin then asks Casey if there's anything he'd like to add before they get to the kidnapping decision, and Casey says he wants people to remember that he's loyal. He knows his emotions can get scrappy at times, but that's just who he is. He can't change that about himself. He can try to control it a lot more going forward, but that's all he can promise. Justin then says that it's probably a good time then to get to Sam's kidnapping decision. Sam must pick one person from the Millennials tribe to kidnap, meaning they are immune and will not vote tonight. They will also join in on the pizza party reward. With that, Justin tells Sam to give them all the name of the person she'd like to kidnap, so Sam breathes out and looks at the Millennials. She then says that her decision is based on ongoing trust and loyalty, and she wants to bring over a certain someone who deserves a bit of a break and some food. She will kidnap Henry. Justin then confirms that Henry has been kidnapped for the pizza party, and Henry thanks Sam. Justin then tells Gen Z and Henry to head to the pizza party, so they all start heading out. Justin then tells the Millennials that it's time to get to this vote, so they all prepare.
I'll tally the votes. If anyone has a hidden immunity idol and they want to play it, now would be the time to do so. Alright, I'll read the votes. First vote, Casey. Rhea. 1 vote Casey, 1 vote Rhea. Casey. That's 2 votes Casey, 1 vote Rhea. 9th person voted out of Survivor Millennials vs Gen Z, Casey.
As Casey gets up and wipes his tears, Christine gets up and apologizes to him. She then asks him if she can give him a hug, and Casey looks down at the ground. He then gives her a hug and says he appreciates her kindness. Christine then looks at Casey in the eyes and tells him to keep his head held high, and Casey nods as he wipes his tears. Rhea meanwhile turns to the other 2 girls and thanks them for saving her, and Bobby smiles back at her. Casey then puts his torch down next to Justin and watches the torch get snuffed. He then makes his way out, and Christine breathes out heavily. She then turns to Rhea and says she's glad she's still here, and Rhea thanks her for keeping her around. Justin then tells the tribe to head back to camp, so they all start heading out. Next time on Millennials vs Gen Z, this season so far has proven that the Gen Z has the upper hand in this game, with Millennials being picked off one after another. Even with the swap giving them a second chance at this game, the Millennials still found themselves in a minority, but they managed to still take out 2 Gen Z in the process. Well, it's time to see if they can do it again as the merge is finally here. With the Gen Z having 8 original members against 5 original Millennials, will it truly just be tribal battles, or will the Gen Z start turning on each other once again? We're just about halfway through this game now, so there's still a lot of game to be played. Stay tuned for the next episode as we begin a new chapter in this game. Casey's final thoughts. Casey admits he didn't think he'd be such an emotional wreck on his way out, especially since he felt something bad was coming. He can't be mad that he went home. He screwed up. He could have played this game a lot better than he did, but it was too late to repair his mistakes. Right now, his hope is that Christine wins this whole game. She has been the one person by his side since day one, so he wants her to be rewarded with the money and the title. She has great odds because a lot of people like her. While he's sad he got voted out tonight, he's looking forward to his first proper meal after 19 gruesome days out here.